Welcome back, ladies and gents. This video, we're going to talk about an update on Big Hickory Island after Hurricane Ian, one of the most destructive storms that has ever hit Southwest Florida. So here we got Big Hickory. Just a little background. I used to work here as a kayak guide for about a little over a year and a half. Here I am kayaking with my drone. Big Hickory was really known locally as kind of like a nature retreat. Really not a super busy area, if I had to be honest. It was pretty big for tourism as far as like eco tours or anything like that go, just because the entire island itself was a preserve. Wasn't exactly any buildings or anything there. The only thing you're really going to find is the kayak slip where people go out and kayak and all that kind of good stuff. Here, you can see, I mean, it's a very green, blue, pretty spot. There's no buildings there. It's a good place to be. And not a lot of people are too aware of it. That being said, I'll show you exactly where it is. So, like I said, it's right below Lover's Key State Park. If you're looking at the map here, this is Southwest Florida. You got Sanibel Island, Estero Island, then bam, right where that pin dot is, that's Big Hickory. Zoomed up, you can see it's right below Lover's Key, and it's right around that Estero Bay area. Keep in mind of the map, if you have to go back and reference it in the video to make sense of some things, go ahead. But right here is the southern tip of Big Hickory. So right below that is Little Hickory Island. Big Hickory itself wasn't very busy. Not a lot of boats would go there. It was more of a kayaker scene just because it was harder for boats to park. Right where we are, that's really the only spot boats would park. And if it was a really calm day, you can go in the front like it is there. See how there's no waves or nothing? You can go in the front and park in front of Big Hickory. Where those condos are, that's Little Hickory Island. That beach right in front of those condos, that's usually where the boats would park. And then you can see all the kayakers going. Here it is. Here's the aftermath. Not a whole lot of people have seen it, man. And to be honest, the first time I went out there and saw all this, I was just devastated because not a lot of people associated a lot of damage with Bonita. We were told of a giant storm surge that was going to happen. And if y'all have been around in Florida, encountered different storms, usually storm surges, they don't really happen a whole lot. This one, completely different story. It was 18 feet. Even, this is really close for Estero Island, so it was right around 18 feet to wipe out all these trees. So, yeah, you can see just how altered it is. It's not green. The water's really not all that blue. We got a lot of runoff and stuff going out there. And then there's a new pass that got formed just from the sheer strength of how much water was flowing in. This used to be a continuous beach, and you can see there's a new pass there, and it's quite deep. It's like 8 foot. I've tested it. I didn't measure it with a measuring device. I just went down there, touched the bottom, came up, and just gauging off of it, it has to be at least 8 foot. Obviously, I did not swim in that brown water. A lot of people are worried about bacteria and stuff, which is why you can see nobody's out there. I am going off my best judgment, so I don't go into any stagnant water. I'm only hanging around in that little pass area where that water is flowing, and my odds of getting, hurt from bacteria are a lot lower. So, like I was saying earlier, this is the Little Hickory beach. This is right in front of the condos, and this, in my opinion, took a huge beating from the storm surge. As you can see, there's not a lot of beach left there. This is on low tide. That little sandbar right out there, that's going to be completely covered with water, so it's virtually gone. All this spot where these boats parked, all that gone, got completely wiped out. So a lot of people are wondering about debris. We didn't get to see a whole lot of debris on the front of the beach, and that's really because that storm surge pushed all of it back into the bay. However, on the pass, there are boats and stuff that got swept into the side of the island. One of the most notable channels that just has a ton of debris is Hogue. Hogue channels right by Little Hickory Island. And as you can see, really good news. We got 2 barges out there. Well, 1 barge, pontoon boat, and they're collecting all of that debris up. But this really got hit by a trailer park that was on Little Hickory right below those condos. It just got wiped out, flushed out, and all that debris just got flung into the mangroves. This is what the trailer park looks like now. A lot of the houses got swept right behind it where it goes into that channel, and here's the other side. They're finally picking this stuff up, which is really good news because it's been over a month. All this stuff out here, we got to remember, probably has low priority because they got to go in, they got to fix all the houses first, got to get all the condos working, all that stuff. So they're finally getting around to it. It's been a little bit over a month since, Ian's hit. And just by looking at this, it's going to be months before it just goes back to normal and there's nothing there. You see cars, all kinds of stuff have just floated out into this channel. But it's a really cool process that they use to get this. So they just pick up all that debris, throw it on a pontoon, and this boat's going right up to Lover's Key State Park, where they are using that boat ramp there as a temporary landfill. So they're going to put all that stuff there, haul it down, and there's another landfill by 41. Probably the 2 are connected, if I had to guess. So this is Estero Bay, and here's where a lot of the debris actually got flushed out into since, the storm surge came in. And, I didn't see a whole lot of stuff on the beach. There were some debris on the beach, but it just really nothing compared to some of the spots in Estero Bay. Most notably, this little spot right here, there's actually a floating house. Got swept off its foundation. Somehow it's just completely normal. It's just crazy. Here's another example, too. We're going a little bit north of Big Hickory. This is still Big Hickory Island, but this is actually a new pass that connects right into New Pass. New Pass, as a lot of people locally know, is right where Lover's Key is. So it's that dividing water between Big Hickory and Lover's Key. If you got to go back on the map to understand what I'm talking about, just pause it and go back. But this is all new. This is a lot bigger, a lot wider than the other new pass that I showed you. And, they're going to have to come up with names of this because what do you call it? Like new pass? They got to do it. But there, we're going a little bit more north, okay? We're going right up to Pelican Landing. Almost lost my train of thought there. But this is the northern tip, and this is kind of, if you saw people walking on Big Hickory Island that didn't have a boat, we all got to remember that this island has no road access. Very important note there. Odds are they got ferried to Pelican Landing, and there's a lot of communities that were on 41 that would have shuttles, and they would take these people out and drop them off here for the day. Not a little bad little inclusion of where you live. Pretty cool. This unfortunately did get a big beating. So there's a lot of water still left there. All the mangroves are dead. You can kind of see that trail that goes back out to what used to be a dock where they dropped these people off of. Obviously that got wiped out, and there's a ton of sand on that trail. And one of the crazy things is they closed the road going through Big Hickory and Little Hickory Island just because there was mounds of sand. I will have to do a future video where I drive through that area just to show you. But on a brighter note, there's been tons of wildlife. Every single time I've gone out there, there's been tons and tons of dolphins in particular. I have yet to see any manatees. Later in the year, the manatees do retreat and go into fresh water, which, it's November turning December pretty soon, so that would explain it. But here I got I was able to get these dolphins on my Skydio for like 20 minutes, and they weren't that hard to spot because there was just so many of them out there by the coast. And as you can see, they're all playful, very happy. Life seems to be pretty good for a dolphin right now. Storm not really affecting their overall morale. So I got them on the drone. I've even been able to get a few of them up by my boat, just like this little encounter right here. And they're all swimming in pairs. So it's very probable they're mating. Tons of birds. This was after the storm as well. My dad shot this footage, but just tons and tons of birds. Pelicans, black skimmers, terns, just coastal birds. Here's a really cool shot of the Skydio. I was able to get these pelicans flying by coincidence. I had no idea they were coming there. Just kind of happened. But overall, I'd say the wildlife situation is pretty good, other than the red tide. There have been reports of pretty bad red tide up by Cayo Costa, which in a straight line from Big Hickory, I would say it's probably about 30 miles. However, down in Bonita, I really, throughout the whole month, I didn't really see a whole lot of red tide. And what a lot of people are speculating is that massive storm surge just brought out a ton of runoff, which it definitely did. And that runoff had fertilizer, which is now contributing to a red tide. From what I've seen, it's all up by Cayo Costa. Down in Bonita, my last visit, I did see some signs of it. Right now, as I'm speaking, it's Thursday, November 17th. So last Sunday when I went out there were signs of red tide. I saw not rows and rows and rows of dead fish, but maybe one or two mullet here and there. They were dead. So, yeah, the water is questionable. There's just no doubt about it. I'm taking my own personal responsibility into account and just saying, hey, man, I'm going to go where I think it's safest. Obviously, if you got a giant cut on your foot, it is not advisable. It's also not advisable to let that water get into your mouth. I mean, it's just basic common sense as far as that goes. But overall, Bonita, Lover's Key, Big Hickory, that's all very good news, I would say. They're really clearing that all up. Last time I went out, there was probably 3-4 cars left in like the actual boat channels to get out to the island. And they're really cleaning up that Hogue channel, which is awesome. Life there should be back to normal within a few months. As soon as the water quality gets back, as soon as all these debris and all that's cleared up. Now, as far as Fort Myers Beach goes and Sanibel and some parts of Port Charlotte, that's all a whole other story. The devastation there is way more, way more than what Bonita faced. Bonita faced flooding. Fort Myers Beach, Sanibel, they had flooding and wind to take into account. So, whole different ballpark. But this is all good news, and this is the first time I've really done a voiceover like this. So if you guys really enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Please share it to anybody that you know that is interested or really wants to see what the coast has been like. Every time I've gone out there, there's nobody out there. So I'm assuming a lot of locals just don't know what the coast looks like or have heard what the coast looks like, but haven't seen it with their own eyes. So I hope this video really touched some bases there. As far as Big Hickory goes, I will be updating y'all on Little Hickory Island, and I will be doing a video on Fort Myers Beach. So if y'all want to stay tuned and be able to, see that, subscribe and hit that bell notification icon just so that you get notified when I put these videos up. But I hope y'all have a great day and have a great day. Adios.